I'm Donna Hanover here at Broadway's Walter Kerr Theater. Most actors yearn for a great death scene sometime in their careers. The amazing Jefferson Mays has 8 of them in every single performance of A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder.
Well, I fall from a great height. I am devoured by cannibals. I am done in with an axe.
Does the show ever depress you, considering all that?
No, I find it oddly liberating. It's not, I don't think of the death so much. I think of the resurrection afterwards.
In the musical, poverty-stricken Monty Navarro learns he is actually a member of the rich Dysquith family and an heir to the Earl. They reject him, so he bumps off the ones who stand between him and the title. Jefferson plays them all. But that's not unusual for him. In his first Broadway show, I Am My Own Wife, he won a Tony playing 37 characters. He discovered acting in college.
I did my first play, and I fell in love. 12th night, I played Malvolio at the age of like 17, 18, and couldn't even grow a mustache for the role, so I ended up drawing it on my upper lip with my sister's eyeliner.
Who's your favorite Dysquith?
I don't like to say because it just makes the other Dysquiths jealous, and they won't speak to me. This is where the magic happens. This is where all the Dysquiths live when I'm not wearing them. We have Lady Salome Dysquith, Lady Hyacinth Dysquith, who's very well upholstered, Lord Reverend Ezekiel Dysquith, Asquith Dysquith Sr., Lord Adalbert Dysquith, and I know there are a few hanging around here. This is Adalbert's fox that he sort of carries around.
It looks scarily real.
It is. Well, it is real, and your grandmother probably wore one. And then all my hats are up here. So I essentially come running off stage from the light into the dark, and am immediately set upon by sometimes up to 4 dressers who rip my clothes off and then thrust me into one of these outfits. They're like, what are they? They're like the pit crew at the Indianapolis 500, yes.
One of his props is a favorite.
Personal prop of mine that I wanted to use in the show, they needed cane of the period, and it belonged to my great uncle Jacob Mays, who was at the Battle of Gettysburg. He was blinded in the artillery, and this is his opera cane. It's engraved J. Mays.
Separate from his on-stage props and costumes, Jefferson almost always wears a hat in his own life.
Your antics on stage, antics not to be insulting.
Not at all. I take great pride in my antics.
But you're famous for your hat collection, aren't you?
I guess so. It's a bit of I've always had a hat collection ever since I was a small child. And my father, a very clever man with his hands, an artist, would make hats for me for Halloween. So I had like a Norman knight helmet or a Civil War kepi. So yes, that started me on my way.
What did your mom do?
My mother was a children's librarian and an actor herself back in the 1950s. She was a beautiful woman and would read aloud to me every night. And I was amazed because my mother, talk about shape-shifting, when she would read, like Charles Dickens' Great Expectation, her face, this familiar woman's face would transform into all these different characters she was doing.
Jefferson showed us a little more backstage magic.
It looks like armor on stage and moves like armor, but it's plastic. Couldn't be more tatty, but it's lovely to look at.
His dressing room is genuinely old and historic.
And think about all the people who have been in this dressing room. Angela Lansbury, this was her dressing room when she was doing the Sondheim. And Elaine Stritch, this was her last dressing room on Broadway.
Do you feel the former residents of this dressing room?
Yes. Yes, I think there's some of Tallulah Bankhead's face powder still in the carpet.
Also in his dressing room is a photo with his wife, Australian actress Susan Lyons, who read Monty's lines aloud to help Jefferson learn all the Dysquith lines. Now, after a year in which he and Bryce both got Tony nominations and the show and director won Tony Awards, Jefferson still gives tremendous focus to each character, and he's happy each time the audience gives up belly laughs.
People leave with smiles on their faces. There's nothing more gratifying than that as an actor. And they leave lighter of step and lighter of heart.
Adalbert. I'm Donna Hanover for Arts in the City.